Vietnam missile crisis remains a pivotal moment during the Cold War era. This crisis occurred in the late 1960s, when the United States declared evidence of Soviet missile installations in North Vietnam. This event had many similarities to the Cuban Missile Crisis of 1962, but it has its unique complications. The installation of Soviet missiles in North Vietnam not only escalated tensions in Asia, but also posed a significant threat to neighboring countries. The United States, anxious for stopping Soviet influence, called the UN Security Council for immediate action. Unfortunately, the UN response was characterized by delay and indecision, a combination of Cold War rivalities, political maneuvering, and lack of conscience among the permanent members of the Security Council hindered any meaningful intervention. As the crisis deepened, the world watches as tensions flare and the risk of a full-scale conflict loomed large. Ultimately, the Vietnam Missile Crisis served as a poignant reminder of limitations and changes faced by international organizations in times of crisis. It underscores the need of swift and coordinated action when global stability is at stake. While the UN has sized involved and proved its mechanism of conflict resolution, the lessons from this missile opportunity continue to shape international diplomacy in the 21st century.
Since the ouster of dictator Mohamed Siad Barre by the Somali rebellion in 1991, the decades-long civil war has raged between rival clans in the country. The UN peacekeeping mission, UNOSOM, which was set up in December 1992 to facilitate humanitarian aid to people trapped by civil war and famine, has since failed because of the lack of government to communicate with and repeated attacks against UN officers. The failure of the UN peacekeeping mission caused about 500,000 civilian deaths in the country.
In 1992, Bosnia and Herzegovina declared its independence after a referendum. Following the declaration of independence, Bosnian Serbs mobilized their forces into the country with the help of the Serbian government, which led to the start of the war. Around 8,000 Muslim men and boys were killed by Bosnian Serb troops under the command of former General Ratko Mladic at Srebrenica in July of 1995, the worst mass killing on European soil since World War II. Many of the Muslim victims had fled to the UN-declared safe zone in Srebrenica, only to find the outnumbered and lightly armed Dutch troops were unable to defend them.
The invasion of Iraq, which occurred between March 20 and May 1st from 2003, was carried out by a coalition of countries led by the United States along with the United Kingdom, Australia, and Poland. According to the US President from that time, George Bush, the reasons for the invasion were to disarm Iraq of weapons of mass destruction, which were never found and whose existence was not proven. From that moment on, the United Nations, through its Security Council, imposed a series of obligations on Iraq, including unconditional acceptance of the destruction of its chemical and biological weapons and long-range ballistic missiles under the international supervision. In addition, it established an economic blockade to pressure the Asian country. Months after the start of the invasion, the President of the United States from that time, George Bush, placed Iraq as an axis of evil. He also accused Saddam Hussein's government of having weapons of mass destruction and of having links with Al-Qaeda. Those links were not confirmed either. In 2007, Alan Greenspan, a former president of the US Central Bank, assured that the real reason for invading Iraq were not the publicly expressed reasons, which were related to the supposed weapons of mass destruction and ending the alleged relationship between the Iraq Abbaasi government and the Al-Qaeda guerrilla organization. But it was to control the oil reserves and prevent the European Union for emerging powers such as China and India from getting close to those gigantic oil reserves. Following the overthrow of Saddam Hussein's Ba'athist government, the US-led coalition declared victory. Iraqi forces failed to prevent the total occupation of the country, the fall of the capital, and the removal of the Ba'athist government from power. The first action of the invading coalition forces was the reorganization of the Iraqi army and police. However, it took time to reach a degree of stability, and civil protection has not been guaranteed due to the prevailing political, economic, and social uncertainty.
The war in Yemen, which began in 2014 between forces loyal to the internationally accepted government of President Rabu Monsieur Hadi, backed by Saudi Arabia and Iranian-backed Houthis, has turned more violent after a Saudi-led international coalition started by operations against Houthis in March of 2015. The Saudi-led coalition began its intervention in Yemen in 2015, escalating the war, which left the poorest country in the Arab world in a state of disaster. The UN has failed to send humanitarian aid, food, and drugs to civilians amid a blockade imposed on the war-torn of the country.